Do you believe that this is the right decision for Bradley Beal to opt out of his contract to sign a max deal with the Wizards for the long term?
Personally, I don't care. Players like Bradley piss me off. I've said it 100 times. I'm one of those people that if I were in their position, I would want to play for a championship. You're already in the NBA. You're a top 25 player, top 20 player, depending on who you ask for Bradley Beal. You've already made career earnings with endorsements, brand deals. There's so many different things. And of course, you've made just hand over fist in Washington as a whole. So now you handcuff the team to pay you $50 million a year. Now you basically ensure for the remainder of your career that you're going to lose because you're paying Kristaps Porzingis $30 million for the next 3 years and you 50. So you're making 80 million between two people. On what earth does that make sense for you to want to be competitive? Like, who enjoys losing day in and day out? Bradley Beal coaches these AAU teams. Bradley Beal has been seen on TikTok, on Twitter, about reminding these kids it's not about, like how many points you can score. It's not about, what it is you bring to the table as an individual. It's what you do as a team to be successful. But you're preaching the exact opposite in your professional career. You're literally taking your team's entire financial future and engulfing yourself into it. Tell me somebody on this Washington roster that makes the Wizards a competitive team outside of Bradley Beal. It's to me it's just frustrating because you see Bradley. I don't care. You see Bradley on the court when they lose by a little or they lose to a buzzer beater or Bradley has like 35 at half and the Wizards still end up losing by 20 plus points. Like I don't know how I would get up and go to work every day knowing that I'm the best player on this team, knowing that I'm making the most money on this team, and no matter how hard I try, unless I drop 50 or 60 points, we're not winning. I can't see myself being a part of a losing franchise. He's already been there for 10 years. You've given them everything you can get. Or excuse me, you've given them everything you can. John Wall got traded. John Wall got hurt, so that all broke down. Spencer Dinwiddie and Bertans got traded. The Wizards locker room just seems cancerous from what Bertans and Dinwiddie had said in the Mavericks post-game press conference multiple times. So it's like you want to stay in a place where you're not happy, but you're making the most money. To me, if that's what you want, go for it, bro. I don't feel bad for you. I said it last year when he decided to when the rumors were circulating last offseason about him getting traded. If you want to stay in a losing franchise and you want to get paid $50 million, kudos to you, bro. The bag clearly is more important to you than winning. I don't want to hear you complaining. I don't want to see you throw a fit when your team loses, and I definitely don't want to see anything about being frustrated in the media for the 82 game season that Washington is going to play next season. So good luck doing nothing and have fun with your money. Money's a great thing, but when you're a professional athlete, if you have no urgency to want to win, to me, you're a sellout. And I said what I said.
Damn, Kev, you're not holding back on this one.
It doesn't make sense, bro. Look at what they talk about look at what they talk about draft night. I'm gonna make this point. Paolo or whatever the hell this guy's name is from Duke, the number one overall pick. They're asking these rookies these hypothetical questions on would you rather 2 rings and no All-Star appearances or 10 All-Star appearances and no rings? People are choosing 10 All-Star appearances, which shows you're selfish. That is the type of player that Bradley Beal is. That is the type of future that is the NBA coming into a nutshell. How dare you choose 10 All-Star appearances? Who gives a shit if you score 30 a game if your team is on the bottom pedestal of the NBA? The Orlando Magic, one of the laughing stocks of the Eastern Conference. The Washington Wizards, one of the worst teams that ended up being in the Eastern Conference. It's not fun. I don't care if I have 15 out of 15 years I'm an all-star, but my team has never made it to the playoffs or made it out of the first round. That's not cool to me. That's not something I would brag about. I don't find losing fun. And athletes are always saying, well, it's about winning. It's about getting to an NBA finals. It's about winning a championship or bringing a championship to a city, blah, 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 blah. All this political bullshit. And then when it comes down to the nitty gritty, well, Washington can give me 10 million more than any other team. But if you simply opt out, you think you're not going to make $30+ million for another team? You're a two-way player. You can average anywhere from 25 to 28 points per game. You shoot efficiently from 3. You're a tall, physically strong wing. Miami would pay you that money. Dallas would pay you that money. There's a number of the Lakers would find a way to pay you that money. And those are all winning cultures. But you're deciding to stay in Washington because they can give you half of $100 million a season. That's ridiculous. That's greed. And I hate that.
Hey, bro, if he's a bag chaser, bro, listen, I gotta respect the hustle, and I understand if it comes at the expense of, going out and winning a championship. But I mean, even if, let's say hypothetically, if Bradley Beal were to like reduce his salary by like a quarter, I mean, if you were to look throughout the entire landscape of the Eastern Conference, do you think that Washington could possibly bring in some players to go around Bradley Beal outside of the guys that they have right now with KCP, Kyle Kuzma, and Porzingis, that would put them in a situation where they would be a competitive force in the Eastern Conference? I'm not really convinced of that. Now, granted, they have Roy Hachimura, they have Danny Advia, the guy that they drafted a couple years ago, but outside of that, they don't really have a lot to work with. And even if they were to bring in somebody, let's say they trade for somebody halfway through the season that could potentially shake up the roster, I don't think that Washington's going to go anywhere. I mean, they finished 35 and 47 last year. They were one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference last year for a reason. Now, granted, Bradley did get hurt. He had season-ending wrist surgery. So, I imagine he's still recovering from that. He's going to go into this year with hopefully 100% health. But no, Kevin, I'm with you on the part of he's just going after the bag. I'm not going to go to the point where it's like he's selling out. I'm not going to go that far, but I don't think that anything he's going to do is going to give Washington a chance to win here. I just don't see
But
that.
he's being complacent. That's what I'm saying. If you know
No,
the franchise
I
itself
think
is
he knows.
not doing anything,
I,
leave.
I it's either that or it's like, you know what? It's like I'm not going to go anywhere, but they're going to pay me to just stay here and do it. What I got going right
But
here.
he's not a player that isn't proven. He's not a player that teams or organizations would be on the fence about to give him money. Any NBA team that's
Well,
competitive would give him $35+ million
yeah,
a year.
listen, step out of your shoes for a second. If you were in his position, I'm just saying hypothetically, if they're giving you a $250 million contract, think about that. A
I hear you,
250,
bro.
like
I
that's
hear you.
that I understand.
I'm not denying it, but he's
It,
been making 30 some odd million a year already, so it's not like
it,
he hasn't had a fat couple of extensions, bro. He's
Ke-
good. He's got
Kevin,
money. He
I
said it
under,
publicly, but he said it publicly. I got
I know,
enough for the rest of my life to never work again. My kids never got to work again. My parents never got to work again. He's
I
got enough money.